Back in the loft, 3rd of June. We've had more, experienced more lockdown loosening. We went to some friends last night and had a few hours sitting in their garden with them, which, was incredible. To, just the sense of some kind of return of partial normality was, it really meant a lot. It was, we've spoken to them over the phone. They've been sort of past our house a couple of times on their exercise and just sort of had a brief hello from the bottom of the steps to the top, but to actually just sit down and spend time with them in comfortable surroundings was, really good. I also then today went into town and had a coffee with a friend of mine, and again just some hanging out and being able to talk, a more relaxed environment. It was significant. You can see it's easy to get swept up in this, and I can understand the motivation of people who are sort of rushing out, and you're seeing these photos of parks and beaches rammed full of people, and you can understand where that comes from. But it's, I'm still playing it very carefully. I'm not going to change my daily patterns much. Still staying at home as much as possible, wash my hands as much as possible, social distancing. It's all, a change in government guidelines doesn't suddenly mean there's been any change to my immune system or the virus itself. So I think there's still a lot of time for a lot of cause to be cautious. But we'll see how this phase goes. Seeing a lot of anger in America and all over the world at the situation in America at the moment. Trying not to ignore the fact that there are so many racial issues in our own country. It's easy to point at such a clear example of a society with deep racial injustice. But it always pays to look around and listen to the experiences of those around you, instead of just judging. But it's, having had a friend of mine who lives in America, a white friend, tell me that Trump's done more for race relations than any previous president. It seems staggering, and anytime I try and enter that conversation, I'm always told, oh, well, you don't live here, you're not American, you don't know. And it's like, but I do also know black Americans, and their take on Trump's attitude to race relations isn't the same as yours, and I've got a feeling that, I am more inclined to believe them. But and I think it's a sign as well of people being fed up. The protests we're seeing across the world, genuine and authentic, that people's concern is, no doubt, but you see crowds of people congregating to protest, it feels that at least part of that is a desperation to be out of the house and a desperation to hear something else on the news cycle. It's an issue there's a lot to consider and a lot to think about. But the injustices that we can see going on are unacceptable, and it's we've got a lot of things to balance and think about, but we need to think about a lot of things. We need to think about the experiences of others and what we can do to make the world a better place. Anyway, there we are, thoughts from my loft for today. I think that's all the socialising I'm going to do for this week, so we've got nothing else in the calendar for the next 4 days. So yeah, calming down after the initial excitement of seeing people, but it's an interesting week.